All right, let me just do a quick test to make sure you can see and hear me, and then we'll get going. All right, let me just make sure you can hear me okay. Testing 1, 2, 3 before we kick it off here. All right, good. Okay, we'll get started in about 3 minutes or so. We start at 8 a.m. Pacific time. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this Stock Analysis Friday. My name is Bennett McDowell with TradersCoach.com. Great to be here. So listen, each Friday we're going to get together and meet, and basically this is a time for you to type in stocks or ETFs that are of interest to you, and we'll be glad to do a quick analysis based on multiple time frame analysis and what I think is going to happen in terms of target ranges and potential stops. So I want to welcome everybody here. It's great to have everybody here. All right, so a few administrational items I need to go through first just to kick it off. And the first thing, of course, is I have to quickly talk a little bit about the risks involved in trading. So let's go ahead and get to that. We all know that there's risk involved in trading. Nothing's guaranteed. We deal in a realm, of course, of probabilities. And, you know, that's what makes trading exciting, but by the same point, that's what makes it risky too. So you always have to remember that there's no certainties in the market. Nothing's guaranteed. So before actually taking any trades, please check with your financial advisor or money manager just to be sure those trades are suitable for you. All right, so I also have a bunch of books available, and Gene is going to place a link to get these books on Amazon in the chat area, so feel free to go there and check those out. And also, too, when we look at charts, we're going to be looking at a trading system that actually you can get from TradersCoach.com, and it's called the Applied Reality Trading System, and it also has add-on indicators like the OWL, PTF, and TLM. You're going to see me use those today, and we also have scanners as well. All right, so let's, before I get to charts, one quick thing is please like us, subscribe us, and share. That way we build the channel. We're just starting out, so this is new. And this really helps a lot, so definitely do that. Now, also, too, if you're going to actually participate in the chat area, in other words, type in symbols and so forth, please remember to also, you're going to have to be a subscriber, okay, to do that. So definitely help us out there. All right, so let's come out of here a little bit, and let's go into the charts. The first chart I wanted to share with you is GBTC. And GBTC is the ETF for crypto, and it's been a really great trade. We talked about this last week and recommended it, and I have to be honest, it's been going up pretty much ever since last week. Now, I have a subscription service called More, and you certainly can check that out on our website at www.traderscoach.com too. But we've been in this for quite some time, and actually we're getting close to our target range. So if we take a look at our charts here, I'm going to show you where the target is and probably what's going to happen with this. Before I do, let me just quickly tell you a little bit about the charts in front of you. On the left-hand chart, we have the 60-minute chart. And this is kind of giving us a short-term look at the markets. So this is called multiple time frame analysis when I have three charts, all of the same market. The chart in the center is the daily chart. This is more used for position trading and represents the intermediate trend. And then finally, the chart on the far right is the weekly chart, which is our long-term chart. So whenever I look at a stock, I'm always looking at the short-term, the intermediate, and the long-term aspect. This really greatly helps for timing. For example, if it looks good long-term, but the short-term charts are saying not quite yet, then we're going to hold off on that purchase until the short-term momentum catches up to the long-term momentum. So I just got a little bit of basics on this. This area up here that you see is our scanners. And so that's how we find stock opportunities as well as futures and so forth. All right, so GBTC. Let me open up the larger weekly chart and just take a look at that. So in terms of where we think it's going, we think the target range is going to be in this upper area here between the two blue lines. And that's roughly between $57.77 all the way up to $78.70. Now, in terms of an Elliott wave, 3, 4, and 5. So that is going to be the end of this trend. So it's still got some room to go. Stops need to be placed under this pyramid here. And we probably think it will get up there in the next month or so. So this is a good position to hold. Let's take a look at the indicators at the bottom. This one is called the OWL. And again, all these indicators, all this software are the tools that we use when we analyze the market. This is called technical analysis. This is not fundamental analysis. So we're looking at price to help us judge where the market's going and where our stop should be and when to enter the market. So in a case like this, our entry was several weeks ago based off this particular art pyramid here. Our stop is under here, entry here, and notice here at the bottom we have a bullish owl and a bullish what we call PTF indicator. This PTF indicator has about a 75% accuracy rate, so it's pretty darn accurate. Anything in the market's over 60% is actually pretty good. So in terms of what it's telling us, we find take the highest price bar in this green area, and there's a 75% probability we're going above that. And that certainly seems to be what's happening now. The PTF does not tell us how big the retracement is. We have to use other tools for that, but it tells us when we have a retracement like we had here, that after the retracement's done, it's going back up. So it's a quick way to say basically the trend is not yet over. All right, so that is GBTC. If we look at this now on the daily time frame, we see also bullishness on this time frame. We have a bullish owl. Yellow PTF is neutral, so that's not bad. And here we can also see the Elliott wave counts. Now, if you want to learn a little bit more about Elliott wave, all right, that's something we also teach, and that's also technical analysis. But this is looking pretty good for more highs eventually on this time frame. And as long as that owl is bullish, it's good to go. And then finally, the 60-minute time frame. This is an intraday time frame where each price bar represents a full hour of activity. Notice we've had all the pyramids up here in a row, and we're still rising. So that's bullish as well. So you have all time frames extremely bullish with GBTC. So this is a nice one to be long at. Your only problem right now of entering here is we're so close to the target zone. We always like to calculate our risk to reward, and basically if you enter here and have a stop here, then your risk to reward's about only 1 to 1, if not a little under that. So your entry would have been better, okay, several weeks ago, but that looks like a really good one. All right, the next one I wanted to take a look at is POAI. Give that a second to load. All right, so here's another potential opportunity. Let's open up the weekly chart here. This baby sold way off, as you can see. I mean, it used to be extremely up there. All right, beyond belief. All right, and as you can see, basically it's pretty well flatlined on the weekly chart. Let's open that weekly chart up one more time and hit this button here and get a little bit more detail on the price activity. So as you can see, it's come down quite a bit, and this is what we call a channeling market. Now, you're not going to make any money when a market channels, but what that does do for us is it gives us a heads up that if we break out of the channel, we may have a pretty good trade. So this has come way down under basically $5. So this is a pretty cheap stock at this particular point. Don't get fooled by cheap stocks. You can still lose a lot of money with cheap stocks. So you still want to be careful. You still want to use risk control. But what we're looking at this for is a potential trade. And what we like about this is it's not going any lower, okay, and it's channeling. So if any new news comes in on this that's positive, it's going to cause this particular market to go up quite drastically. If we look at the daily chart, we can see even during this channeling period, we're seeing some bullish momentum come in the form of the PTI and the OWL. Now the PTI is basically saying that there's a 75% probability here that we're going above this high here, which is around $2. So again, this is something, if we break above here, we'll probably be looking at a trade for this. So we definitely want to keep an eye on this, and I think this could have really good potential. Also, if we look at the 60-minute chart, we can see that that is bullish as well. So there may be a time that we can certainly get a trade in here pretty soon on this, so that's looking pretty good. Okay, so next thing I want to go over here is another stock. Let's take a look at Tesla. All right, everybody's talking about Tesla these days. All right, so here's Tesla. This has had an incredible run up, okay? And actually, you know, it channeled for quite some time. You can see where it channeled down here in 2019 before it lifted off again in 2000. And basically here, it's been a straight shoot. Pretty easy. Pyramids did a great job, which are part of the art software, of getting you in this. Stop is down here. We're starting, if we make a little further high, we're starting to see bearish divergence building in the owl here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Now, bearish divergence alone is not a reason to go in. It's just telling us, hey, you know, the trend is still going up, but there's not as much momentum as before. So it usually comes on the mature part of the trend. However, you can get bearish divergence for quite some time as a market's going up. It's something to take note, not necessarily something to keep you alarmed or out of the trade. The PTF is also indicating more highs are coming, so we're probably going to go up a little bit. The only worrisome thing I have on this is I do not like to get into trends late. And this is definitely what you would be doing here. You might have a little juice left in this trade, but you got to be careful here. Also, too, when we count the pyramids, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and we have 4 and 5. That, after 4 pyramids, we start to really look for the end of the trend. So we don't recommend getting in again after 4. All right. So I kind of think this is too late to get in, but if you're in it already, super. If you're in it as a long-term investment, all right, stop. Put your stop right there in case the market declines. Also, too, if you're looking at this in terms of a shorter-term trade based off the pyramids on the daily chart, your stop is going to be right around this level here, a little bit above 750. All right, so it looks like we got a 3, 4, we're heading on up to 5, and I'd say we're pretty close, getting pretty close to that target on 5. So Tesla's been a great trade on all time frames, but again, I think it's a little late to get in. All right, let's take a look at some other stocks here. Let's see what else is coming in. All right, let's see here. The video placed in the upper right-hand corner blocks the current price action of the chart. Actually, it doesn't. It's just blocking actually a little bit of the time frame. So let's move that over. How's that? Okay. Price action you should be able to see. So the only thing that's actually missing here is the symbols for zooming, drawing, and things like that. So when I put that on there again, you'll notice that really it's not interfering with any of the price. So it should be okay, okay? And that's a comment from Zeke. Zeke, let me know if you still have problems on that, okay? But I think you'll be okay on that. All right, so Zeke, what do you got? Let's take a look at WPM. And let me type that baby in. All right, so let me ask PP here, what are you doing with this? Are you long? What do you think? All right, well, let's take a look at this. All right, let's first take a look at the weekly chart. If you're looking at the weekly chart, you've had a fairly nice move to the upside. All right, and we took out this previous high way back in 2011. So it looks to me like this uptrend is not yet over, okay, from a long-term aspect. Again, if you look at the PTF, which has a 75% accuracy rate on this, it's basically saying take the highest price, which is up here, the previous high back in, looks like, I'd say the summer to fall of 20, that there's a 75% probability we're going higher. All right, so that's a good sign. This bottom held on the pullback. All right, so now this particular bottom, we'll see if that one holds. We do have a little bearish momentum coming in, so it's not quite as robust as I'd like to see it. Let's take a look at the daily chart. This is why I use 3 time frames when I look at a chart. So the daily chart is showing us that the correction that it's in here to the downside is not yet over because of this red PTF. So it looks to us like it's going to go down below here before the bullishness returns and makes new highs. So you got to be careful here. So if I was trading this, I probably at this time would not go in yet. All right, I'd wait until I see the PTF either turn yellow or green. All right, so right now that would keep me out of the market. Let's take a look at the 60-minute time frame. And the 60-minute time frame is saying we probably will get a little bit more of a push. So let's take a look and see what I think is going to happen. So on the weekly chart, I'm just going to basically, after analyzing all three time frames, the 60-minute is saying a little higher. The daily says after a little bit of high in this, we're going to go lower. Then we got to see if this bottom holds. And then we got to wait for the daily chart to turn bullish before taking a trade. So I think you'll be able to get a better price if you're patient and wait. And you may have to wait several weeks. Okay? So that's my take on that. Eventually new highs, we're still in the correction. And that's WPM. All right, HFC. Let's check this one out. And this again is for PP. All right, and let's see what we got cooking on this one. All right, so PP, if you're short on that other one, that's a good thing because I think you'll have a short position, make money before it turns around and goes long. All right, so on HFC, all right, again, very similar situation as what we just looked at. So we got a long-term chart that's bullish here, okay, and we have a short-term chart or an intermediate chart that's showing bearishness. So let's open up that weekly chart a little bit and see what's cooking. All right, so as you can see, it's kind of moved to the downside here, and that is okay. So it's channeling right now. Basically, we've got a short-term channel there, and of course a bottom possibly here. But in terms of actual indications, it looks short-term we're going to go down. I don't think we're going to go below this bottom because this is green here. But it looks short-term going down, and then after that, taking out this high here. So the fact that the PTF is red on the smaller time frame, which is the daily time frame on this, I think you're going to go down first before going up. So a short trade probably would be doing okay as well on this one. All right, so that's looking actually pretty good. But you know, when you take out that bottom, you got to be very careful because when you have a long-term chart that's bullish and a short-term chart that's bearish, as soon as that bearishness is over on the short-term chart, it's going to rebound and go up. So you got to make sure you get out, okay? All right, let's keep going here. All right, TAN, T-A-N here. Let me get T-A-N here. My pleasure, PP. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, here's TAN. Ooh, I like this one. Okay, so let's open up the weekly chart first here. All right, and take a look at this immediate move here that started back in the beginning of this year. So if we look here, when you have a big move up here, that's Elliott wave 3 of some degree. So that's a 3. All right, this 4 looks pretty good, and it looks like we're starting to bounce off into wave 5. Now, if you're an Elliott wave person, once again, don't forget there are 5 waves in a trend. So it's usually something like that. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then the trend ends, which is kind of what we're saying over here. Wave 3 is usually the most robust. So that's what we're kind of seeing here, right? So in a case like this is kind of interesting because let's take a fib retracement and see how this retracement did. So let's go from here to here. And notice that the pullback of wave 4, and that's an Elliott wave 4, all right, ended right in the retracement area. Okay, so that's a good dot to connect, right? The other thing is on this owl indicator down here, wave 4 has got to be red on a bullish trend, and we got it. Okay, this is a wave 3, 4, so now we're climbing out. So when this turns green, that's going to be further confirmation that we're in wave 5. If you want to go in early, you know, you do have a green PTF, but let's just check the lower time frames just to make sure they aren't bearish, and they are not. They are bullish. Notice we have a green PTF here, green momentum, green, green. So if you wanted to go in at this particular point, you certainly could do that. I would put your stop either here or down here, okay? The further you put your stop away, you got to lower your trade size, but then the chances are you will not get stopped out on normal volatility. So this is looking like a really good long trade, and this is TAN, and I think, let's see who that, I bet it did that one, and this is really good, so we all need to thank him for that, okay? TAN, looks good. All right, so our next trade here, let me just go down the list, is, how about CNS, okay, CNS. Everybody like this? Okay, kind of fun, right? It came from Art, right? Okay, good. All right, so CNS. Okay, here is a bullish move underway. However, let's take a look at this. The only thing, again, that I don't like about trends like this is they're kind of mature, all right? You're already up. You've got 1, 2, 3 pyramids, 4 technically, but after this big dip, we can recount them. You do have a green PTF here now, okay? So we're going higher. The question is, are we going to go like this, a little higher, and then sell off and go up? That's the problem with getting in trends late. So my belief system really is I try to stay out of trends in terms of getting into them late. Now, if you're already in, great, right? Hallelujah, right? All right, so you want to put your stop at this pyramid here, okay, right under this price here. And that's going to be right around 82, 83, and we'll get exact because we can go right to our data box and take a look at the price under there, and that's 82.64, 82.64. All right, that's a weekly chart. Let's see if we can see. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good price right now. Okay, so I think you can stay with that, but I think you got to be really careful. You're also starting to see bearish divergence here. So, and you do have more highs coming here. So you're going to get more highs. I'm just a little skeptical of how much higher, right? Okay, so watch this one. All right, let's move on here. Let me make sure, I want to make sure I don't leave anybody out. All right, did I get everybody or did I leave anything out? Not sure. And everybody, I think, can see the charts okay, and everything seems to actually be working. We just started this last week, so we're kind of new in getting everything squared away with the technology and all that kind of stuff. So we want to make sure, basically you can see the charts clearly and things like that. So your feedback is really important. And I appreciate that feedback on the my little picture on the upper right hand side, because I certainly don't want to block any charts. Okay, so let's see what we got here. All right, did everybody see my analysis on GBTC? All right, hopefully you got into that. We talked about that last week. It's been doing really good. So hopefully you're doing well on that one. A little late to get in now, unfortunately. And you got to be careful with the cryptos because I think the next high is going to be a major high. All right, Kevin, he's long DQ. Thank you, Kevin, for being here and providing us a symbol to take a look at. All right, so let's open this baby up. All right, so I'm going to start with the weekly chart. Take a look at the long term. All right, so this is a nice one too. Let's do a couple Elliott waves here. 3, possibly 4. Here's your 4 here. Green PTF that will be justified probably on wave 5 when it takes out the top of the high of that green PTF. So that's a really good trade. You've got a pyramid trading entry here. Okay, so I'm liking that. One thing I want to check here, and let's just check on that retracement. And let's see where we want to put. I'm going to put this right about here. And okay, so in terms of retracement, 70% of the time wave 4s get between these two lines. 15% of the time they go a little bit lower, but they can't go into wave 1, and this did not do so. So that's a good thing. 15% they're a little shallow up in this red area. So this actually is ideal. Okay, this is really ideal. So I'm liking this, and you got a nice, definitely a nice pyramid to the upside. Let's see where the long-term trend is going on this. So for that, we're going to use Fib Extensions. So here's our target range between 119 and 165. This is your high 70% probability range for a wave 5. Okay? Now, great entry here. Take a look at the risk to reward. You could put your stop at the very bottom or use this pyramid, and you still have a good risk to reward to the target zone. I usually use the middle number for my target zone when I calculate risk to reward. So this is awesome. This is like 3 or maybe 4 to 1. Okay? So this is really, really good. So I'm liking this a lot. The pyramid is here. All right, so things are looking pretty good. We've got momentum climbing up, trying to get green, which I think it will soon. Let's drop down to the daily chart. And we have that green momentum and a pyramid here as well. So I would say this is an immediate long. Okay, so Kevin, I like this. DQ, immediate long. And put your stop at the very bottom, and I think you'll be in this one for a while. Okay, so do not move your stop up too close. Let this work its way out. One of the biggest problems that we all have is when we have a target range is being careful not to move our stop so close that normal volatility takes us out of the market before we reach the target zone. How many people have had that happen? I have. Okay, so that's taught me a lesson to be very diligent in how and quickly and where you place your stop. So you can be right on your analysis and get stopped out if your stop's not in the right area. Okay, so excellent. All right, so let's take a look and see what else we got here. All right, PM. Let me give that a second to load, and we'll take a look at that. All right, here it's loading right now. Let's take a look at that long-term analysis here. All right, it looks pretty good. I would have liked to have gotten in earlier. We had some opportunities to get in down here from the pyramids and then trail our stops. So again, this is a great example of a little late to get in. Now, if you're in already, hey, terrific. But you've had 1, 2, 3, 4 pyramids, so my rule base says do not go in after 4. Wait for the correction, and then if it still looks good to the upside, go in then. Okay? So I don't know if you're already in this one, PP, but if you are, then that's good. I would put your stop right here at this pyramid here. That looks like a pretty good place for it. Let's take a look at the data box and see where that is. 93, 94, so one tick under that. Now, the other thing we can look at here is the daily chart and see what that's looking. We have a little bit of a move down. All right, this is kind of interesting. So in this time frame, we've had a move down. Still got a red owl. So I kind of would wait for this to go away. Not so sure. We may go up here and go down. So I'm not going to, I would not take this pyramid, I don't think, here because of the fact I don't think it's retraced enough. Let's take a look at what a possible retracement would look like here. So I'm just going to run these up here. Okay, so it hit the low probability area, and that's pretty good. All right, so it hit the low probability area. I would like to see some confirmation on this. Here's the problem, is this is either an A, B, C correction and it's done and it's going to take off, or this is an A, this is a B, we're still in, and then it's going to drop back down, and if that's the case, you're going to get stopped out. So this one is a little bit more risky than some of the other trades. However, you do have a green PTF, so there is a 75% probability of taking out this high. So this is not a bad scalp trade to go from here to here, right? Not a bad scalp trade. It will work if the bottom's in. If the bottom's not in, you're going to get stopped out, and you can try again. Let's see if the smaller time frame helps us. All right, so we have an active bearish pyramid on the 60-minute, and we have this. I would not go long here. Okay, if you're long already, great. But if you're thinking about going long, I'd wait for that 60-minute chart to turn bullish. And that may save the day for us, because if this is not the bottom, then this will strengthen and go lower. If that's the bottom, this will turn bullish and you can go in at that time. Okay, so that's how I would look at that. All right, I got time for one more. What do you think? Anybody got one more for us? So far, I like DQ and tan. Those are the two best ones today. DQ and tan. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. All right, good. Zeke's NVIDIA, let's take a look at that. NVDA. NVDA. All right, so you don't have to be a genius, right, to see this thing is in a major move to the upside. All right, so that is a wave 3 without a question. So 1, 2, 3. All right, so hyperbolic move, you can never miss a wave 3. Now the problem is, once again, okay, if you're thinking just about getting into the trade now, don't do it, okay, because we've had too many pyramids in a row and the trend is too mature. If you're in it already, hey, great, you got a potential place to put your stop here, and we'll look at the daily chart to see if we can get it closer. All right, so on this time frame here, check this out. Very strong wave 3, okay, in place, and it's still strong. Look how powerful the owl is here. All right, so I would not want to go short here. All right, yes, we're going to get a correction, but you can't do it yet, okay? It's just too powerful. Now, let's take a look at what the possible retracement could be when it comes. So I'm not saying we're at a high now, so I imagine these numbers are going to change as the market goes further up on NVIDIA, but even if it corrected right now, you're talking about going from 227 bucks down to 153. So this is going to be a big enough correction that if you don't get this right, all right, you are going to give a lot of money back. So you got to be careful on this. So if you're long, you definitely want to have stops at least here, okay, on that pyramid. But let's drop down quickly to take a look at where our stop could be based on a lower time frame. So we have a pyramid here, okay, sitting right here on the daily chart. And if we take a look at the data box on here, that has a low of 205.11. So 205.10 would probably be the best place to have your stop at this point. Now, the 60-minute chart over here is indicating more highs, and so our stop set, what I just told you, should allow for more highs easily, even if you get a pullback. So still bullish on NVIDIA, but one day the party's going to end, okay? So you just don't want to get in, it's Russian roulette, so to speak, when you start getting in late in trends, because you may hit it for one more high or you may miss it, okay? So always use risk control. All right, so let's see what's going on here. What's going on? Ben, move chart over a little. Your photo is covering wave 3. Really? Okay. Well, you know what? Why don't we just dump the video? Okay, how's that? We'll just go like that. All right. Yeah, I agree. DQ and Tan are the best picks of today. All right. Well, that kind of wraps it up today. Okay. I want to thank everybody for coming. Maybe I'll go back there. All right. So listen, we're going to do this every Friday. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it, and it's a great way for me to get out in front of people and kind of meet you virtually. And also, of course, we look at stocks, so you can't beat that. So please come next week. We'd love to have you as we try to build this channel. Remember to like and subscribe to it. That's how we reach more people and can help more people with a second opinion or an analysis of the market they're in. All right, so we'll see you next week. Thanks so much, everybody.